Magic Makers. I'm Mamirella.
I'm Yukita Cosplay.
Juju Jones.
And I'm CJ Peterson. Welcome to Magic Making Mischief. Get your wands to the ready because we solemnly swear we're up to no good. And speaking of up to no good, today we have with us celebrity chef and actor LJ Klink. But do not despair. We are not ignoring you today. We are pre-recording. So keep that in mind. Today, we have a special guest with us today. Like I said, actor and LJ Klink. We're super excited to have him on today. LJ.
Hello.
Now, some of you may recognize him. He's been in a couple different things. Green Room, Vacation. Let's see, what else have we had him in? Grimm. And what else have you been in, sir?
I've been on the Food Network competition a couple of times, and so I won Extreme Chef, and that was from Smart Dog Media. And then I also took second on Guys Grocery Game, Extreme Couponing, I think it was.
You were on Guys Grocery Games?
Yes, I was.
Oh,
Dude, we watched that.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was a few years ago. I think 3 years ago I was on there.
Cool. We're going to go back and watch that now. Okay.
I think it's, I want to say like season 13. I don't know. I don't really watch myself on TV, so
I feel that.
Yeah,
Now, so we had something funny happen right before we came online. We figured out how Yukita and LJ met, and it seems that everybody has a twin in this world. And Yukita, explain how you two.
So essentially, LJ is my husband's twin / doppelganger because they look exactly alike, pretty much. With the difference now in the facial hair, that's about it. Once upon a time, me and my husband went to go see a private screening for a movie called The Green Room. And one of the characters in the movie, me and my husband and some of his friends couldn't help but notice that they looked very similar. And me being the girl that I am, I deep dived because I'm like, what? What is this? Because celebrity doppelgangers and whatnot. And they're also around the same age. So I was like, wait, do you actually have a twin though, for real? And it's a funny story. There's a lot to it. Yeah. But essentially that is LJ is my husband's doppelganger.
Very cool. So I'm going to dive into this twin thing. So I ran into my twin in high school, and so I was with my twin all through high school. So Yukita, have you run into your twin yet?
I have, and she is so much my best friend that we literally call each other twin.
Very cool. Mommy, have you?
Kind of. I had a girl at college that I became really good friends with who people kept confusing us for each other because our hair and structure looked a lot alike. So, yeah.
And Juju, have you?
So I have two things. One, I have a twin, but her name, she's not my twin, but she is my cousin. She's my cousin, and we come from the same maternal. She's from my maternal side, and we both look like my mom. And then I have been told that I have a celebrity doppelganger, but I'm not quite sure about that. And that is Christina Ricci.
Huh.
You can see that.
When I was younger, I did a Wednesday, and they were like, "What?"
I can see it.
Oh, Christina Ricci. Oh, yeah. Oh.
I can see it. We lost Chiquita.
Oh no!
It's
But that's my story of twins.
I can see it. I can see that. Okay, so Mr. LJ. So how did you land from which came first, the actor or the chef?
Well, that's a great question. So as a kid, my grandparents had a restaurant and my parents were real young, and my grandma had a heart attack. And so I started at 3, math and science and reading with cooking and poker. And so I really cooking came first. And then I pretty much wanted to, early 80s had the show Fall Guy, and now it's been made into a movie. But in the early 80s, I wanted to be a stuntman. I was like, I can jump off my bike as fast as I can ride. And, my mother called me Laceration King because I had so many stitches and so many bump bruises always, because I was always trying to be a stuntman. And then I got to be in a play, and I was in a play, and it was really interesting. And I learned that theater, though I did it afterwards, theater wasn't as much my my spot. I always kind of felt like I was overacting in theater, which on screen, those micro movements are different. And I learned that from just doing some interviews. And I put before podcasts and before all that, I did a video on VHS called Klink's Cooking Hour, and invited a chef on it to talk about something. And I was like 15 years old. And so that was about the time where I was like, this is really cool. And then upon graduating from high school, I went to culinary school, and in culinary school, I started going out and, going to the noon newses and, doing that Sunday morning TV show where I'd cook and be in front of the camera. And that's really where I really said, okay, I can be in front of the camera. This is cool. And then through it all, I built a culinary school in Central Illinois, Richland Community College. We put a culinary school together. And when I did that, I ended up becoming the noon chef, and I'd come on and be like, hi, I'm Chef LJ Klink, and today we're talking about the shallot. A shallot is a small pungent onion that is, but a lot of people think it's a garlic, but it's not a garlic. It's a, and I did that, and they would cut me in whenever it was a slow news day, which was, most days. So I was on almost every day, and I filmed like 60 of them out of whack. Well, the Food Network saw it, and they asked me to come in, help on some show development, meaning like be a participant in a show that would never go to air, but how does it work? And kind of putting a pilot together, a pilot that would never air. And so I went and did that. And upon that, you know what? I forgot a whole piece of this. So let's go back. I jumped right past. In 2001, I wrote a letter to The View. They had asked about what Disney had, how Disney had affected you and how it changed your life. And I wrote a letter to The View and said, this is why. So it was when Barbara Walters and Lisa Ling was on there. And so I got to be the on-air up and coming chef, Lisa Ling's date. And so I got to talk to Barbara Walters, 17 million live viewers. And I spent a whole day at Disney California Adventure, 2 days before it opened. And I got to do everything, all the backstage passes. There was 100 red carpeted stars. And I looked around and I said, I could do this. This is no problem. And and I'd done all that other stuff, like I'd said, that I'd worked up to. And upon that, somebody saw me that had an outdoor adventure show and said, hey, do you want to go on this outdoor adventure show? For 2.5 years, I was the on-air chef. I also did a lot of the media pieces, the filming, some editing, voiceover. And I did that, and it was on the Outdoor Channel and the Sportsman's Channel. So I did that, and then I ended up building the culinary school shortly thereafter. Got the job on the noon news in Springfield, Illinois, because I had that experience in front of the camera.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow,
and then
that's awesome.
Yeah, and after all that, I just started getting calls from people that are like, "Hey, you think you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, I'd do anything." And so yeah,
That's so
My husband,
awesome.
my husband is a huge Fall Guy fan. He still has his lunch kit from whenever he was watching the show back in the days. Oh, yeah.
that's cool.
I can appreciate that inspiration.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really funny. I really believe growing up in the 80s and the 90s, we got a different look at what what sitcoms look like. Now that, I've had all these experiences and, acting classes and all these different things and retrospectives and all the things you do to be better at what your craft is, what your love is. And, I feel that gap that some of our entertainment doesn't have anymore. And it's really cool to go back and revisit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
True.
I have a question.
Sure.
Who was your most like inspirational person growing up that inspired you to cook?
Well, so as far as, my parents were kind of a little restaurant, and I wanted to be an attorney. So I said I can go to culinary school because I can afford to pay for that myself, cook my way through law school. And so it was kind of a means to an end, but really my mom kept telling me, she's like, she was a pastry chef for 30 some years at her own restaurant and then catered before we had a restaurant. And when, her abilities, she never was classically trained, but worked with a lot of great chefs. And she just encouraged me, to go into food. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to be a line cook for the rest of my life. I can't do that. I see these 50-plus-year-old guys and they're broken and they're bitter. And I don't want to be that guy. And so she convinced me to go to culinary school. And with the idea of I could afford to pay for more schooling later. And then I got accepted into the law school I wanted to get into, and I turned them down.
Wow, that's
What
awesome.
a flex, though.
I asked that because I like cooking. I like experimenting. I am an amateur compared to you, sir. But my mother inspired me, and she was an excellent cook.
It's amazing, with being. I feel so grateful and I'm so blessed that I've been able to do the things I've got to do. And when I talk to people about my experience in food and entertainment world, people think I'm making stuff up. They're like, oh, there's no way. And, one of the things I got to do is I got to go work in China, and I've got to work in China and Mexico. And working in China, what I learned about food is that it bridges the gap. I was in a kitchen in Suzhou, China, with a dozen chefs that spoke no English. I spoke 1 or 2 words in Chinese, and we were able to have a blast. We spent like 11 days together talking. We made meatballs, made dim sum, we made Chinese pizza, which is amazing, which is basically they all from China go to Europe like a lot of Americans do, and they learn. So we had food as our conversation. And that was like the moment in my brain. And I was in my early 30s. I was like, oh my gosh, food is everything. I don't need language. I mean, our primal needs are what our primal needs are in food, and a beverage of some whatever is so important to that. And so it's amazing how food makes that occur.
That's really cool. So you use food as your language. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to be an attorney, not because I wanted to be, all the bad things that you hear about attorneys. I think it was watching too much LA Law in the 80s too as a kid.
That'll do it.
We'll blame that, but what I really wanted to do is I wanted to help people. And that was my big piece. And I had I've struggled in some of my roles because my whole goal is, to better the world I live in. Yet a lot of the time, the roles I play are probably the worst of the worst. And I had an acting coach tell me, she's a brilliant lady. And she looked at me and she goes, LJ, we sin on screen so others don't have to in real life. And I was like, wow. And that was so monumental. That gave me that to go in there and think about something from this terrible spot and know that it doesn't affect anything in my life outside. And I've literally been on set with other people, and they're like, and my hair was down to my shoulders, and had a big beard most of my time, you know, it's just recently that I kind of cleaned up a little bit. I actually want a new headshot, so that was I wanted a different look. You know, I was kind of getting typecasted, and so
Nah.
yeah, I know.
Could never. Some type of weird metalhead? Never.
Oh, it's crazy. And I'd be sitting there and be all dressed up and looking terrible, and somebody would be like staring at me, like, "What are you looking at?" And they're like, "You're one of those like super like smart guys that's not as bad as he looks." I'm like, "No, I'm a freaking actor. Are you kidding me?" Like, at the end of the day, I work with kids. I mean, literally. So it's just like, no. But at the same token, it's been such a wonderful journey, and it's such a yin and yang to what my soul is. I get to do two very craft-driven jobs that have such a impact on people. You're entertaining them, you're making them happy, or at least you're emotionally driving them. And I get to do that with food and entertainment.
Well, speaking of kids, that you mentioned, we were talking before about the school food reform. What is that?
Yeah. So, you know, we all have moments in our life where we get stuck in a place, and I was in a very, very egotistical place, I would say. That would probably be the best way. Ego driven, you know, the chef world, when you start getting all the accolades and all the letters behind your names and your certifications, and, you know, and I'd gotten to the point where I was in upper echelon of that group, and then I was acting and doing that, and that becomes and so with that, my kid came home from preschool one day, and she looks at me, and we'd moved back, and we were in the town that I graduated high school from, and my family's restaurant was in. And she looked at me and she goes, "Dad, I wish I could get food. I wish my friends could get food like I get." And it was moving, and it was for a 4-year-old to say that she noticed her friends got crappy food and it wasn't good. And I told her, I promised her I'd do something. And you know, and that was the time I was doing Green Room, and I was working on TV behind the camera as a producer and stuff. And I was like, "Sure, baby, whatever, I will do whatever I can." And I didn't take that lightly. And so I got into school food reform, and I was one of the chefs that came out with the 2010 Healthy Kid Act, which is the Healthy Kid Act from the Obama administration. And I was, after they trained the first group of chefs, I was the first wave of chefs that were trained. So I worked in 23 different school districts in 7 different states, changing food, teaching lunch ladies how to, run their kitchen effectively, efficiently, how to properly wash fruit, how to use a knife, how to season something, how to actually cook. And
season is that.
Yeah. And school food, what do we hear all this stuff terrible about school food? And at that time, me being me, I said, I'm going to be better than Berkeley, California. Their public schools, I'm going to be better than them. And I think it was year before last, we officially could say we're better than them. And this year I bought, in the last year and a half, 2 years, it will be about 2 years by the time I get my next order, I bought in about 30 cows, live on the hoof cows. I send to the USDA plant. So when I said I was going to change food and make it better, I've literally started the slow food movement that was cool in the 90s, but made it at a school in Eastern Washington. We're a suburb basically of Spokane, Washington, but we're rural, we're agricultural, and we do 5,000 meals a day, about 2,000 breakfasts, about 3,000 lunches. That's on the low end of our average. And over 75% of those meals are local food or scratch cooked food. Like we make our own ranch dressing. We make 40 gallons a day of ranch dressing, and that type of stuff.
40 gallons a day of ranch dressing. Yeah. Add some jalapeno to it, and I'm all in.
We do.
Jalapeno ranch is my favorite sauce right now.
Hey, that's one of mine too. It's great on pizza, I'll tell you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
But so that the part that I get to do every day is I get to better the world. I got 40 employees that work for me. We're over 285 square mile radius, and most sites cook, but we do transport as well. So I've got a warehouse and a couple secretaries and an assistant director, and we all go out and we battle good food. And I came from the world of fancy food, so for me, I don't look at it as K-12. I don't hire people that are lunch ladies. I hire people that are cooks that like kids. It's pretty simple.
It's not meatloaf. It's meat pate with with a tomato paste drizzle.
I like to call that American pate.
I'm going to ask a difficult question. What is your favorite thing to cook that you like?
So that's such a great question, and it's such a huge question. And as a cook, I've evolved. Obviously, for me, I went through classically French trained, and then I went Mediterranean, and then from the Mediterranean, Lebanese food, even Indian food. And then went and worked in China, and then I worked in Mexico. So I have those influences and got to work with some Lebanese chefs and some Indian chefs that were just incredible. And so I say all that because I love all the pieces of that. But the thing that I'm probably doing the most right now is that farm to fork piece. Like my buddy owns a farm. We've done a ton of charcuterie. So prosciuttos, capicolas, chorizos, both dry. And so that right now is, it's very science driven. It's patience, it's old school, and you don't waste any piece of any animal that, you have. And that warms my heart is, I went vegan for a while, not for any political reason or anything. I was like, you know what? I need to know the plight of the vegan. I need to know what that's like. As a chef, I want to know how hard it is to order. I want to know how hard so I did it for 13 months. It wasn't a 1 week thing. It was let's see what this does. And I actually found out from my doctor that I wasn't evolved enough to be a vegan.
What does that mean?
Please explain.
You need meat.
What do you mean you're not evolved enough to not eat meat? What does that mean?
I know. I took it at first. I took it I'm like, how dare you? Thumbs, and I know how to use things with those thumbs. But no, I actually he's an Eastern European doc, brilliant dude, and he basically said that the way my physical body's made up is that I need to have more protein, animal proteins, and my body regulates them differently. So,
basically he called you in medical form a Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Honestly, essentially, because my husband's the same way.
I can't get over that I have thumbs. It's still playing in my head. Doesn't mean my head be like, no, I have thumbs.
I'm a carnivore, so I'm like.
So I don't eat as much meat as I did before, and I guess that's a good thing. I really love vegetables, even though the silent scream of the radishes keep me up at night.
The silent scream of the radishes. If someone doesn't make that into a children's book, I'm going to be highly disappointed in all of you.
Hey,
no, it needs to be a punk rock band name. That needs to be a punk rock band name. The silent radish screams.
That needs to be like a metal VeggieTales song.
Before we get too late, I want to bring up the shows you've been in because Z Nation is actually my favorite zombie show. I think it's way better than Walking Dead, in my opinion. Okay, so congrats on being on that one because that was a good episode too. That one got me. I was not expecting the direction that one went. I was like,
"Oh, and wrong. Here's a little." My daughter is in an episode.
Really?
And and she it was her first and last acting gig. She just she did it. And then she got done with it and it was like, that was fun. I'm glad I did it. And she's the little blonde girl. I think it's the 2 episodes after mine. And she has a 44 mag and she's shooting zombies. And she ends up getting eaten by zombies.
Oh.
And her grandma and my best friend's mom, who was like her grandma, helped nanny her. were watching her, and here she is sitting between them, and she gets eaten by zombies, and they cry. Like, we're like, what are you doing? She's right here. Yeah. But the thing she took away from, and she's 20 now, but at, I think she was 13. What she took away from is like, Dad, that's just like corn syrup and root beer. And I'm like, she goes, it tasted so good.
Oh my goodness. She said, I want to be a zombie again just so I can eat my own blood.
We had to like tell her to quit licking her hand,
Like she's got all of it all over her hand. She's just like, I'm gonna get a quick lick real quick. She's like, oh, my sugar is dropping. Let me just take a look.
That's awesome.
Okay,
That's funny.
I have a 2-part question.
Okay.
Do you have any advice for somebody who wants to A, get into the chef world, or B, get into the acting world?
So yeah, I do. And it's going to sound really cliche. It's, first of all, just say I'm going to do it. I grew up in Cheney, Washington, and for a long time I said I'm just a chubby kid from Cheney, and I kind of use that as my mantra, as I can do anything, and anything and I come from a very tough family, like real go-getters that came from nothing, so everything they have they've earned, and that gave me the thought that I can do any of this. That's and like a lot of people, I'm ADHD, I'm dyslexic, all these things that so oftentimes we use as an excuse, not a platform. And I kind of use it as like, no, I can do that. And so that's it. And people go, oh, you just have no fear. You're not scared of it. And I'm like, no. And that's where my company name Luck Junkie came from, is I was told that I was the luckiest person they had ever met. And I said, you know what? I'm a luck junkie. I make all my own luck. And it's having it's having the thought that I can do this and not being scared of failure. And I tell you what, I've been scared of failure every time I take a certification test, every time I have to do a stunt, even if it's falling out of a chair. It's like, if I'm cooking on TV, I want to definitely make sure I don't have any like boogers on me, like everything, like all that is like everything else
relatable.
goes. Yeah, but with that you go, all right, I'm gonna do it anyways, and so whatever you want to do, and just start. I mean, Danny Glover, the story is he was working in a theater in LA when he did Lethal Weapon. And he was doing theater work, and they found him and they put him in that show at 45 years old, and he became a superstar. And stars are made every day. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be on, I don't know what the big show is right now, but
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't. But say The Big Bang Theory, because that was a good show.
I was thinking that too.
It was a good show.
And all that, that those pieces are important to, just getting out there and doing it and not being scared of it.
Very cool. Well, good advice. Thank you, sir. We appreciate having you on. You are an amazing guest, and
thank you.
Have the best luck. As far as ADD and ADHD, our entire crew have it, so we get it. We don't use it as a crutch either.
No.
It's our superpower.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
OCD, that's my superpower. So it's all good. So thank you so much for joining us. Learn more about actor and celebrity chef LJ Klink. You head over to his Instagram, which is THELJ Says. So you can check him out over there and see what all he has on his Instagram. Next week we have actor and writer David Lee Holm. So make sure to check it out next Tuesday at 7:00. In the meantime, get your wands to the ready. Monday.
Did we mention that this was pre-recorded?
Yes, we did.
Yes, I did at the very beginning.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us again. It's been a real pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
If y'all haven't had a chance yet, smash that thumbs up real quick. Juju, would you hit that mute for a second? And make sure to share this one out so that others get a chance to check out some of these awesome stories he had to share with us. I love hearing about your kids program too. That's really cool. I'd heard of that. I didn't know anything from behind the scenes, so that was awesome learning. And if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure that you're subscribed and following us on our individual accounts too. We've got CJ Peterson on TikTok and YouTube, Mombirella on YouTube, and Yukita Cosplay and Juju Jones on Instagram. And of course, Magic Making Mischief on our Facebook page. So till next time, guys, we will see y'all then. And mischief managed. Bye.